All right, we're back. Back again on the road to Spartan. I don't know what number race this is, but I do know that the last one I did, I said I would retire from Spartan racing after the absolute disaster that race was. But we are back on the road, headed to Virginia Spartan. We're doing the Super today. And the car behind us, we have two of our comrades. And they're going to be joining us here. They'll be on a clip soon enough. But we're headed to Arrington, Virginia, doing the Super, which is a 10K. So it's about 6.2 miles, 28 obstacles, I believe. So I'll give you a little rundown of what it takes to prep for a Spartan race. But if you want to do a Spartan Super, you're interested in doing a Super, or you haven't done one before, you just want to see what it's all about, this video will cover all of that and then some. So stay tuned. Let's jump into the video. All right, so Spartan racing, there's really a couple of different ways you can go about jumping into a Spartan race. So first one is just saying, you know what, I'm in relatively decent shape, or I've been running a little bit here and there, and I just want to test out my fitness level and just go out and attempt to run a Spartan race for fun, basically, right? You might bring a couple friends, do it solo if you're just, hey, I just want to see where I'm at. And ultimately you go out there with the expectation you just want to finish, right? That's one way of going about it. The other way of going about it is prepping for it and actually using the Spartan race as a target, like a checkpoint in your year, a fitness goal that you really want to knock out, and you actually set aside 3 to 4 months to get prepared for the Spartan race. So I'm going to cover a couple basics that I suggest everybody do before jumping into a Spartan race, whether you're doing it for fun or competition or you just want to finish. These tips will give you not only a leg up on the competition, but help you prevent injury, help you get out there and actually enjoy it more because you're a little more prepared. So let's jump into that. So the first and probably the most obvious part of doing a Spartan race is the fact that you're going to have to run. Okay, you're going to have to run. The shortest Spartan race is a 5K, so a little over 3.5 miles. The big thing about running that a lot of people don't realize is that running slow and building up your endurance is really the key, right? A lot of people want to get out of the gate and start, just going out there and pushing 1 mile, 2 mile, 3 mile runs as fast as possible. And ultimately what ends up happening is you never really build up your endurance and aerobic engine, all right? You set yourself up for injury, you get overly sore, your body can't handle that increase in miles out of nowhere. So I suggest, number one, purposely running slow. So feeling comfortable during your run, even if that means running at a very slow pace, just to start building up your engine. That's also why I suggest running at least 3 to 4 months out of your Spartan race, starting to incorporate some runs on a weekly basis. Maybe it's 1 or 2 runs a week, and then ultimately 3 or 4 as you get closer to the race. Whatever your target mileage is, ultimately you'll want to throw in some runs that keep you on your feet for that length of time. So it's not so much the distance, right? So let's say, for example, today I'm running a Super. In my head, I'm thinking it's probably going to take me anywhere from an hour and 20 minutes to an hour and 40 minutes to complete. But that whole entire time, I'll be on my feet. So I want to throw in a couple runs at a very slow pace that allow me to be on my feet for an hour and 40, hour and 30 minutes, roughly, right? So I'm not going out there and trying to run as fast as I can. I'm just getting used to being on my feet for that period of time. You might start at 30 minutes on your feet, 40 minutes, 50, and then eventually you get to an hour and a half. But run slow on purpose. Occasionally, when you've built up a little bit more endurance, throw in a run that's a little bit faster. But don't go to the point every single time where you finish your run exhausted, sore, and wondering why the heck you're even doing this. You should feel comfortable during the run. It does take some self-control. It does take an awareness of your breathing and your heart rate and all that stuff. I did a whole running video. You can check it out up here, breaking down some more running tips. But ultimately, running should be at a slower pace most of the time. That's tip number one. All right, tip number two, which I think is probably the most important part of a Spartan race in particular. It's hard to train for obstacles, right? Because unless you have like an obstacle course in your backyard that you've probably built, because these obstacles are specifically built by Spartan, they're not something you can find on a nearby playground or something. These are literally specially made for Spartan race. So, I don't know if that's a word, by the way, special. But needless to say, regardless of what you have access to, it's a really good idea to train your grip strength. but also train your grip strength in a situation where you have to change grip placement. So the best thing I can suggest you find is a pull-up bar that has multiple grip options. So maybe like a neutral, palms facing grip pull-up station, a wide grip, and then maybe the one that has like kind of an angle, like a 45-degree angle, where you can do underhand or overhand. And hanging from that bar and switching your grips, so switching to inside, to out, to in, to back again, getting comfortable being up on that bar, holding on with your grip, with your biceps flexed for up to 60 to even longer, 60 seconds to maybe a minute and a half, switching grips the whole time. If you can get really good at that, your grip strength is obviously going to improve a ton, and you're going to do so much better on these obstacles, because most of the tougher obstacles require a lot of grip strength. It's not like you have to be great at jumping. I mean, yeah, there's some things you got to jump over, but ultimately it's really just about hopping up and pulling yourself over, right? Once again, grip strength. You start to throw in some running mixed in with some grip strength work, you're going to be set. I'll throw in tip number 3, but tip number 2 is make sure you work on your grip strength, doing that hand switching, hand placement to really get comfortable being in different spots. All right, guys, tip number 3, if you're training for a Spartan race, make sure you do a lot of incline runs. So if you're on a treadmill, set the incline 10, 14%. Get used to running uphill, even just walking uphill. It makes a huge difference because a lot of Spartan trails have a lot of uphill portions, and you want to condition your legs to be able to handle that. So I would spend at least half your time on at least a moderate incline, so 6 to 10%. Just get so much more comfortable with that. It'll pay off tremendously in the race.
We need a tip for Spartan training.
So you put one foot in front of the next, and then you just keep going, and then you see a hill, you're just like, let's go, baby! So that's the tip. No, the tip is, yeah, seriously, one foot in front of the next, and you just keep going until there's no more obstacles, and then you get across the finish line. So anytime you see something with any distance at all, it doesn't matter if it's 240, doesn't matter if it's 6.2, it doesn't matter what the distance is, one foot in front of the other, and when you're just like, this sucks, you just keep rolling. That's it. So, and then you're on to Cincinnati after that. You know what I'm saying? He knows what I'm saying.
All right, guys, that wraps up the Spartan Super 10K here in Arlington, Virginia. Until next time, guys, Josiah, Novak, thetruetransformation.com. Life moves fast. Make it count. Talk to you in the next one. Peace.